ahead for their days, or that it'll propel them further in their faith walk, or an obstacle in their life that they would be battling, or that they would be investing into God's agenda and business for theirs. And I'm only saying that because I did this with my pastor since 2020. There would be times where the Lord wouldn't give me any instruction about how to tithe. Like I said, there would be seasons it would be buying people gifts, giving people this, giving people that, actually spending time or actually doing this. And then there will be times where I wouldn't hear from him and I didn't know what to do. So then that's when I did the default tithe that we're all taught, like you're supposed to tithe 10%. So I did the default tithe where I would just send money to a church that I trusted. But he ended up chastising me on that and was like, you can't just be trusting these churches in your neighborhood. You need to go to somebody that's good soil. So that's when I would start tithing into that online ministry I've been a part of. And since then, up until now, I can say when I would tithe into him, I would actually receive breakthrough. But it wasn't because I was tithing into him as a man. It was like I was tithing into the things that the Lord was doing in his ministry. And when I would tithe in faith, I would receive that in harvest and breakthrough. And I started having breakthrough in like identity. I started having breakthrough in different things that now ended up catapulting me into purpose. So when we tithe, we have to be intentional with it. And you can tell the fruits, just like you can test the spirits in people and you can test the fruits in people, you can also test the fruits and spirits in the things that are produced from us by the Lord. And you know, when you're tithing into somebody that's cursed, you're going to be reaping curses. Just like when you join yourself with somebody who's a compromised believer, you're going to start reaping warfare because that person is maybe, for example, I knew somebody that was battling with lust, but they were actually addicted to corn. And I didn't know that. But every time this person would send me a text message, I would literally start battling like lustful thoughts. And I used to think, Lord, I didn't really feel this, whatever. And then later the Lord showed me I needed to cut that connection off temporarily because they were battling an addiction they weren't handing over to him. And every time I stayed in contact with this person, that spirit of lust, because demons are like nasty. They just want to get in where they can fit in. They want to bother you to see if you'll let them in. I was battling unnecessary warfare with that spirit that I already came that battle in my life because I was connected to this person. So even being connected to the wrong person can lead to unnecessary warfare. What good does light and darkness have in common? You can't serve two masters. You either serve one or you serve the other, right? So even with friendships, let alone the fruits in our life when we start seeing how we tithe. So I hope I make